Regulated digital assets are not powered by one contract. They depend on a coordinated architecture: tokens, identity, compliance, asset records, documents, and governance controls, working together to issue, transfer, freeze, redeem, audit, and respond safely. With enterprise architecture, platform choices, and token standards in place, we can now connect those ideas to smart contract components. These components need to be implementable, reviewable, governable, and ready for the contract walkthrough that follows. In regulated token systems, a single all-purpose contract creates unnecessary fragility. When token accounting, eligibility checks, compliance rules, documents, and settlement are tangled together, every change becomes risky. A modular architecture separates those responsibilities. Each component can be audited, tested, upgraded, or replaced with less disruption. Most importantly, changing an identity or compliance rule should not require rewriting the core token itself. That reduces operational risk and limits the impact of defects. A regulated token platform is more than a token contract. Think of it as a control framework. The token contract records balances, transfers, issuance, and burning. But before a transfer happens, the system may check identity, verify investor eligibility, apply jurisdiction rules, and reference asset documents. Registries provide trusted facts. Compliance contracts make decisions. Together, these components turn a basic token into an enforceable, auditable representation of a regulated asset. The token contract is the system of record for the asset. It tracks balances, ownership, supply changes, and transfer history. But in regulated tokenization, it should not decide every rule on its own. Before a restricted transfer, it asks identity and compliance services whether the sender, receiver, amount, and context are allowed. Only after approval does it update balances and emit events. Those events support audit, reporting, reconciliation, and downstream integrations. An identity registry turns an anonymous wallet into a compliance-aware participant. During onboarding, KYC and AML systems verify the investor, then publish eligibility references to the registry instead of sensitive personal data. These references can include jurisdiction, accreditation, investor type, sanction status, and whitelist approval. When a transfer is requested, the contract or compliance service checks both parties. If the required attributes match the asset rules, the transfer proceeds. If not, it is blocked. The compliance contract acts as the gatekeeper between a transfer request and the token contract. Before balances change, it checks whether the sender and receiver are approved, investor limits still hold, jurisdictions are permitted, and any lockup period allows the action. If every rule passes, the token contract updates balances. If one rule fails, the transaction is rejected, with a clear reason for audit and regulatory review. A tokenized security is not just a balance record. It needs trusted context around it. The asset registry defines what the token represents, such as the ISIN, maturity date, fund class, and issuance terms. Issuer controls define who can take official actions, including minting, pausing, redeeming, or triggering corporate events. The document registry links the legal materials that govern investor rights, using hashes and URIs, so evidence is auditable without storing sensitive files directly on-chain. Settlement integration is where token movement meets real-world payment operations. The smart contract should not contain every rule for banking, custody, stablecoins, or reconciliation. Instead, it emits events, such as a transfer request, and an adapter coordinates the required external workflow. When payment is confirmed, the adapter can trigger completion or update records. This keeps token logic clean, reduces coupling, and prepares the system for delivery versus payment, atomic settlement, and stablecoin-based rails. Supply changes need the same discipline. Tokens should only be minted after the real-world trigger is complete: investor subscription, approval, payment, and issuer authorization. The reverse path is just as controlled. A redemption request is approved, tokens are surrendered or burned, and cash, stablecoin, or off-chain payment is released. Every step needs clear authority, timestamps, and event logs, so transfer agents, custodians, fund admins, and auditors can reconcile what happened. Some controls answer a different question. When should an otherwise valid transfer be blocked? Freezing targets a specific account or position, often because of an investigation or legal order. Pausing is broader, stopping activity across an asset or platform during an emergency. Lockups enforce time-based restrictions, such as holding periods after an offering. Whitelisting limits participation to approved wallets or verified identities. These tools are powerful, so they need clear authority, audit trails, and safeguards against overuse. Regulated tokens also need lifecycle controls for events ordinary holder transfers cannot handle. Imagine a tokenized bond. At issuance, investors receive tokens. On coupon dates, a corporate action hook identifies holders and triggers payment records. During transfer windows, normal rules apply. If a court order or correction is required, a forced transfer can move tokens without holder initiation. At maturity, another hook supports redemption. Because these powers override normal ownership flow, they require strong authorization, audit logs, and separated logic. Access control is where governance becomes enforceable. Instead of giving one admin every power, split privileged actions across roles: issuer administration, compliance, transfer operations, documents, and emergency response. Open Zeppelin access control is a common way to encode those permissions, with role checks before sensitive functions like minting, pausing, or upgrades. The key principle is separation of duties. High-risk changes should require oversight, and every role assignment should leave an audit trail for compliance and accountability. Privileged functions are part of the system's attack surface. Treat admin access like production infrastructure, not a convenience key. Use multi-sig, MPC, HSMs, or institutional custody so no single person can act alone. For high-risk actions, require review, quorum approval, and often a time delay. Emergency pauses should be narrow, tested, monitored, and reversible. Document upgrade authority and incident procedures in decision records and runbooks before launch. The main lesson is simple. Regulated token platforms need architecture before code. Separate token logic, identity, compliance, assets, documents, issuer controls, settlement, and governance. That modular design improves audits, resilience, and change management. Next, we'll apply these ideas in a simplified permission token contract and security review.